Hey everyone, I'm Naz. I'm the founder of Next.ai, and right now I'm with Micael Oliveira, who is the founder of Amplemarket. And before we even talk about Amplemarket, because a lot of you already know Amplemarket, I want to know, who's Micah? What's your story, man?
Hi Nas, thank you so much for having me, and super excited to have this conversation with you. My story, I have no background in GTM or sales whatsoever. I was a scientist by training, so I was doing a PhD in high energy particle physics before I dropped out to do startups. I was born in Europe, lived most of my life there, and moved to the US 9 years ago. And I've been working in startups here. And the way that I got into GTM or the sales space was just by building my first company and knowing nothing about sales, trying to set up like a sales motion, just being mind boggled by having to buy 7 different tools to just run a very simple motion and trying to solve my own problems that eventually led to what Amplemarket is today. So I'm a scientist, a physicist, and a father. I have 2 daughters.
Superb. No, I actually looked that up, and I found out that all three of you guys are scientists, researchers, never work in sales. I'm like, why are you doing Amplemarket? Like you should be actually building those AI models, right?
Different times. People always ask, like, it's never a step function change, right? It's never, right? It's always like small little things that lead you down a certain path. And so for my 2 co-founders, Luis and João, one is a computer scientist and the other one is a physicist. We actually met in college. We were working together a lot. We knew that we kind of like wanted to build startups, and startups like in Europe or in Portugal specifically, where we were at the time, were not a thing.
Yeah, Porto is more about surfing.
Yeah, exactly. But today it changed a lot. So like there's a lot more startups over there. But like at the time they were not a thing. But we kind of knew about YC. We kind of knew about Hacker News. We kind of knew about like that you could actually build code, and we were into software. It's kind of like we wanted to work together on interesting problems, and the first startup that we created was like we made all of the possible mistakes. We made up a product in our head. We never talked with the user. We launched something, got like thousands of customers all over the world. But the story for like Amplemarket GTM was really us kind of like solving our own problems, not being from sales, and kind of like really experiencing the GTM problems firsthand. And any startup, like the first problem that you need to solve is product market fit.
Yeah.
Once you solve that one, the next and eventually even biggest one is your go-to-market, your distribution. Because even if you have a great product, if you don't have distribution, you're bound to fade away.
Yeah.
And we, like talking with a bunch of companies in the Bay Area, we noticed that there was no easy way to kind of like, and talking about AI at the time, we were talking about machine learning, natural language processing, feature extraction, sentiment analysis. But we thought like so much of the sales job is repeat monkey work. It makes no sense. There should be a better way to do this.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons we thought was kind of like all of these things are kind of disjointed. Someone needs to kind of like group them into a unified sales platform and then like make it smart.
Yeah.
And that's how we got into this. Like we kind of like understood that the market for this is huge. It's like any company in the B2B space needs to figure out their distribution. So we're in the business of serving those companies that are providing a solution and are looking for people that are experiencing the problem that they're solving. And that's just a universal problem. And so like we decided to drop the other company that we were working on and then like start Amplemarket, and we launched in 2020.
So that's a great segue into Amplemarket. What is Amplemarket? What does the product do?
So Amplemarket is a unified sales platform. So we bring together your data, your multi-channel engagement, deliverability optimization, tough word, your signals, and then we layer a layer of AI on top of this, right? So basically, Amplemarket is kind of like having an AI sales co-pilot. It's a platform that you log in every day and tells you which accounts you should be focusing on and which people in those accounts you should be actually targeting. And then it coaches you through how to best engage with them. So Amplemarket is really like Tinder for sales, if you want. We'll match you with accounts and people that are experiencing the problems that you're solving, and we want to help sellers sell close to the way buyers buy, right? So we offer a displacement flow, a Cognizant, an outreach, a sales loft, and like a signals platform, and then we put a layer of AI. So like you can actually run Amplemarket on your own, like by doing your own sales flows that you want. You can use it in tandem with a co-pilot, so an AI that actually coaches you on how to engage with prospects, or you can actually have it run autonomously on the side. So again, if you want one analogy that we like to use, it's kind of like a Tesla self-driving, right? So you can actually drive it by yourself, or you can put it into self-driving mode. So Amplemarket is capable of like assisting sales teams in terms of like uncovering and generating more opportunities across their regions, their book of business, etc.
And I love that analogy. I've never thought of sales having like a Tinder for sales. Like it's a very marketplace concept, and it makes sense.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because in the end, like, what is a company? A company is a group of people, and these people that are working on solutions to problems. But
Yeah.
the world is super noisy, and there's like a lot of people experiencing the problem that you're solving, but you just don't really know where they are, right? So like,
Yeah.
so ideally, you want to kind of like ingest like publicly available data, signals, first-party data, and then infer who you should be selling to, like, and connect people. Like, you're just, in the end, like, sales is just about connecting buyers and sellers. Seriously, like, again,
Yeah.
if you're not transactional, if you're selling like an enterprise like solution or whatever, like you're connecting a buyer and a seller so that they can actually build trust and understand if the solution that the seller is actually providing provides value to the buyer and solves their own problem. But in the end, sales is mediated by humans, like much like like Tinder. Like a lot of people get married through Tinder, which is crazy because it's just like it's not even AI. It's just like algorithms of
People
matchmaking.
just get married. Yeah.
And they get married, which is like the most important decision you can make in your life, right? So it's like algorithms are already matching us for like the most important decision. And I really like to think about Amplemarket. Like we're Tinder for sales. We're in the business of connecting people, right? That's basically what we think. And even if you extrapolate the avenues of AIs and agents, etc., it doesn't matter because in the end, agents will connect us. You and I will get connected, and you'll pop up in my calendar, and I'll show up here so that we can actually meet because like our AIs deem that we should be connected.
Yeah, I love that philosophy because a lot of times, generally in sales, there's like kind of an assumption that no one's ever buying, right? Everyone's like, okay, we don't know if this person's buying or not, so we're just gonna outbound to like every person. And I start getting all of these outbound messages asking me if I can go on a podcast about retail markets, and I'm like, or like real estate markets. I'm like, I don't know about any of these things, like because they didn't find a match, and they're like, well, people are not buying, so we'll just try our luck. But on the other end, people are always buying.
Always.
Yeah, they're always thinking, how can I make this better?
Exactly.
Right? And so there's always like, people say, oh, I can't pay $30 for this thing. And then suddenly they're paying $100 for something else because it exactly solves the problem. So you just got to figure out what they're buying.
Exactly. I've never met a company that doesn't have problems.
Yeah.
Meaning, I've never met one single company that doesn't want to become more productive, right? I've never met one single company or a single set of individuals that were like, we're completely fine. We don't need anything. Like, we don't have problems to solve. Every single company has a problem or multiple problems to solve.
Yeah.
So it means that they're in the market to buy a service or a product to solve that one specific problem, right?
Yeah.
It's just like really hard for the sellers to understand, which company should be selling to them right now. Every single company in San Francisco is currently experiencing problems that they would like to solve. So they're buyers of solutions. The solutions just don't know where they are, right? And they don't know where the solutions are. But eventually, like when you have a problem, it's so interesting. Like even like individually as like a buyer, like as you, Naz, you're individual, not you, founder.
Yeah.
But even when you're looking to buy something, you try to identify the best solutions to a problem that you're trying to solve, like something like personal that you're trying to buy. And usually, like when that happens, like you really want to know all of the possible solutions that you can actually find the best one for you.
Yeah.
And like companies should compete on that. Like so, like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm in the business of matchmaking. I wish that all the buyers of solutions could know all of the potential solutions because then solutions can compete on value, right? And one or two might
spend so much time, like even as a product manager. So I used to be a product manager for like a decade. I used to like always be looking out for solutions, and I would have spreadsheets of like potential solutions we could use, and I would like even put columns of like they got this feature and this feature, but this would work, this would not work. Imagine if that data was available from a buyer for you, you could match it to the exact right solution.
Exactly. And the point here, like with Amplemarket, what we try to do is kind of like, how can I help you using, and to your point with the CRM, the CRM is full of potential energies. Like it's locked there.
Yeah.
But your CRM is full of first-party data, unique data, that engagements that you had like with potential buyers in the past. And as you know, like if you have a 30% win rate, that means 70% of all of your opportunities are compounding over time. That's a massive number of opportunities that you have in your CRM that are ripe to be sold to in the future. So at Amplemarket, what we want to do is kind of like cross-reference that first-party data with publicly available signals that happen across like your buyers. And then just tell the seller, it's very likely that Naz is looking for a solution that solves this one problem. So here's like, you should reach out to him. And by the way, he's been very active on LinkedIn lately. So he's likely spending 3 hours a day there. So like maybe connect with him on LinkedIn or start engaging with his content, right? So like, that's the type of things that Amplemarket wants to help like sales teams accomplish.
That's amazing. And so while we're talking about this, let's talk about how you guys run your own GTM, right? Because everyone's thinking about using Amplemarket, but I'm pretty sure you use Amplemarket yourself to do your own GTM. So can we run through kind of your own process at the company, kind of top of the funnel to bottom of the funnel? How do you run your GTM playbook today?
Yeah. We use Amplemarket.
Of course.
It's like our stack is Amplemarket Salesforce, and so like we use Amplemarket for pipeline generation, pipeline progression. Maybe I can give you those two examples.
Yeah, let's look at that. Yeah.
So like we have like a team of SDRs, sales development representatives, and like we have a team of account executives, right?
Yeah.
So like I'll start with the SDRs. They're kind of like comped with like pipeline generation or like qualified opportunity generation. And so like it's very similar to how a lot of like companies run their GTM motions, like especially like if you're talking about like like sizable like sales orgs that have SDRs and A's. And so like we give either a region or a territory or book of business to our SDRs, and then they're comped in terms of like actually creating opportunities, qualified opportunities for the team of A's. So the way that it works for them using Amplemarket is like they get assigned like 1,000 accounts. Let's assume that it's 1,000 accounts every quarter.
Yeah.
So your job is to now like make sure that we generate opportunities with these 1,000 accounts. They plug those accounts into Amplemarket, so Amplemarket kind of like is connected with the CRM, and so it knows like Mika has these 1,000 accounts. And so with Amplemarket, like with our AI, you can actually say like, okay, these are all of the signals that I want to start monitoring for my accounts and for my individuals that are actually tied to them potentially being interested in chatting with me. So like one signal could be like, a past prospect that I talked to that now changes jobs. Another signal could be someone that is interested in it, and we're talking because we were just like at a conference together, but like someone that is interested in attending a conference. Another signal could be like people engaging on social with content that matches some of like the buying keywords or buying criteria for myself. And so like we set up like all of these signals for our SDRs. And so every single morning the SDRs come in and they get handed like a list of accounts and a list of individuals that were prioritized for them, alongside they suggested like sequence that they should be running for that person. And the sequence is unique. Unique to the person, unique to the signal, unique to the account. So SDRs can then like curate this, much like Tinder, so you can actually decide if you want to change the sequence and if you want to swipe right or left on that lead.
Yeah.
And then if you swipe right or left, if you swipe right, the lead is engaged, and then like it starts creating a bunch of tasks for that will run automatically for you or tasks for you to execute. And we actually also use a parallel dialer. Actually, Salesfinity, as like our sales team is actually using that too for parallel dialing or calling our prospects. That's for the SDRs. For the AEs, it's so interesting because I told you about like the first party data. AEs, we help them with pipeline progression. So like we have all of these plays that you can build reports on the CRM. So you can say like opportunity move from stage 1 to stage 2 or stage 2 to stage 3.
Yeah.
So you can build a report of exact buyers where we build things like this. If you're an AE and you move an opportunity to stage 3, that exact buyer is going to pop up in a report. That report is being fed into Amplemarket AI. That AI is actually going to route that lead into like the VP of sales, who's going to connect with the exact buyer automatically, asking, hey, my name is James, I'm VP of sales at Amplemarket. Just wanted to say hi, and if you need my help during the evaluation process, just know that I'm happy to find one-on-one time. P.S. My calendar is here if you want to find time tomorrow. So like we use Amplemarket from like pipeline generation, AI assisted selling, and signal capture, right? And signal cross-referencing from first-party data, things that are unique to you that exist in your CRM, with all of these signals that happen every 24 hours online. There's so many signals, and signals are very unique to any.
And do these signals move the pipeline automatically, or do the sales reps have to take the decision?
Both. So like that's like you can run it like in a co-pilot way or an autopilot way. The co-pilot's kind of like I'm giving you a list and you decide if you want to nudge it, if you want to change it, and there's autopilot way, which is it's running on behalf of you. So like I'll give you an example of it. Things like if you have a customer that changed jobs, like a VP of sales that moves, and an AE is already sold to them, we run that on autopilot. Right, so like, okay, change jobs, like, okay, congrats on the new role at company Y. Like, I know that like, onboarding and setup might be stressful, but just wanted to say like, congrats. And if you need my help with anything regarding your GTM tech stack, just know that I'm available. So like that we run
because you already
automatic.
sold to them, they already know you.
And it's low risk, right?
Yeah,
it's a very low risk type of thing. Versus like, imagine you working an enterprise account and it's kind of like a signal that is tied to some buying intent keyword that was fetched from a social post. Then like you maybe want to curate that lead a bit more because you have not generated an opportunity yet. So you want to really curate and review the flows. And it's so interesting because that's what we learned. Like we launched our Duo AI less than a year ago, less than 12 months ago. And and you might think, okay, everybody wants to just run AI playbooks. It is not true. people really want to run their own playbooks. It's so interesting. Like they are from webinars, from like I don't know, like they have all this internal data that they really want to still like run their own playbooks.
Yeah.
And they want to run assisted playbooks, especially for like signals that are captured every 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then like they don't mind having these automated workflows. And in terms of automated workflows, we have like an outbound automation machine if you want that actually creates some of these automated workflows. But again, they're low risk for us, and so like and they generate good amounts.
Got it. Yeah. No, this is something that I've also realized is that people already know what kind of works with the GTM playbooks. Like for example, you already know what works for your playbook, so you want more control over that.
Yeah.
But it's really kind of a question about asking the question of like, can you tell me which people have gone to this stage, are at this like qualification criteria, have maybe this much ACV, because you already know in your mind who should be sent to the webinar, right? So to the AI, they want to ask the question and want to get that information and pull those onto a list, but then they want to decide if these guys go to the webinar, right? So I totally agree. Like that's how people work.
And most CRMs are like, to trip on, like you're working on this, on making it like clean and parsable. Like most CRMs, every CRM is unique.
Yeah.
So seriously, every CRM is very unique. And most CRMs are very chaotic, honestly. Like they have a lot of really good data there, but like they're very chaotic. And so like usually like the first party that is fully locked, because there's no good system that allows you to just take that unstructured data and make sense of it so that you can actually act on it. And so like, with Amplemarket, like with our like Duo AI, we can actually do that, because like we can connect like that unstructured data into an LLM, like, or we use a bunch of different models, and then like connect it to a workflow, because like the platform is just like seamlessly, like everything works seamlessly together, right?
Yeah.
But again, CRMs are full of really
and that's like the huge problem. Like now a lot of people are realizing it. For example, at Inbound, you would have seen like now it actually billboards all over the city right now even. They are saying the CRM that updates itself, and HubSpot is trying to kind of.
Oh, they're saying that?
Yeah, I saw the billboards. But they know that this is a problem because the thing is that there is messy data, and CRM is the heart of the revenue line, right? So if you have messy data in the CRM, which is your first party data, which is your most important data, then everything else is going to just like fall apart all across the system. So it's very important. And so that's the problem that we're trying to solve is like, can we take context from like all different systems, put that in the CRM, make sure it's always up to date, so that when systems like Amplemarket are getting triggered, they're getting triggered with the right data, not the wrong data, because you might just send someone a sequence saying, looks like you bought a product with us and your budget was like 200K. Oh, actually it was 250K, but it didn't update.
It didn't update, and it's so interesting that you're saying that. That's why the Copilot mode that we have is so useful. Because like the CRM doesn't capture all of the data. You know what I mean? Like there's something happened in a text message or like in a call, like over the phone that like you didn't capture, and you're a rep, you didn't update the CRM. So like, and all of a sudden you're telling them the wrong story. So which is like, it's a good point.
That's exactly the problem. And so let's say, okay, so you did pipeline generation here, and now you have pushed this data to the AEs, and there's some workflows getting run after that. How do you run the deal management after that? Because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of back and forth that would happen between the AE and the customer, and probably a couple of stakeholders also come in. How do you manage that whole process? Because one thing that I've generally seen is that it's very easy to drop the ball on a customer, and that's one of the big reasons why a lot of customers just don't buy, because you did not react on time.
That's a very good question. James, maybe my VP of sales would actually have a much better, like more detailed answer to you here, but like I'll give you just a quick overview. So we run like weekly pipeline things, like with individually with the team. But we also create reports. We use Salesforce, so we create reports on Salesforce that allow us to know like if an opportunity was updated or not in the past X days or X hours. And there's like a daily alert that is sent to the sales channel with the AE saying like, you have so many opportunities that are outdated, so you need to go update it.
Okay, smart.
There's some shaming going on, like, and since we implemented this, it's like you're making sure that like the AEs stay on top of their pipeline and keep things clean. But if you ask me if there's a system that we know that like there's things, like we try to build as many of those workflows within Amplemarket as possible, I'm sure we can do much better. So like our sales process is kind of like, if you're mid-market or enterprise account, we give everybody a trial. So like, like any customer that wants to try it out, like you can get a free trial, and we let you experience like the entire platform for yourself, validate your use case, etc. if you're like a bigger customer, we will run a proof of value, a proof of concept, because usually it requires like, like just the way that they procure software is a bit more complicated.
They want sandboxes and demos and
you
whatnot.
need to go through legal, etc. Like there's all of these things that you need to go through, like that you don't need to with smaller customers. And so in that sense, like an AE is actually assisted by a solutions engineer, so they will actually work in tandem for pipeline management. So like all of a sudden, like the sales cycle becomes a bit longer. There's a bit more steps there, but we're making sure that again we keep a sense for like the reports of like opportunities that have not been updated recently or have like invalid next steps.
This is an interesting one. I wanted to ask about this. So, for example, one of the startups that we had been talking to before, they had run like a voice AI company, and for them, it's even larger in terms of POCs. So they'll do a lot of proof of concepts with like every B2B customer that they're selling to, and the problem they have was like, now we have not just a sales team involved in the process, we have the product team involved in the process as well, right? And potentially a CS who's going to also take on the account is also involved in the process.
That's chaotic.
Now, because there's so many hops, you don't know which person is the stuff with.
Who's driving, right?
Who's driving, right? And then either, there are two things that happen. Either you drop the ball and you haven't like communicated back because you're thinking the other person would, or there's too much communication and two people from product and sales are probably saying conflicting things, and now you're confused. How do you manage that problem?
Man, I wish I could have like a good way to manage that problem. I think we've made a lot of like improvements there. I think having like an SE, a solutions engineer, in the process really helps. And the solutions engineer is someone that is very close to product. So it's someone that knows the product very, very well. They can build all of these much more advanced workflows that an AE can demo the product. Of course, they can use the product, but like an SE is actually a bit more, in terms of integrations, etc. Like they're actually a really good driver. We also have like, again, the AE is always kind of the driver. So they sometimes like pass the steering wheel or they pass parts of the process to the SC and to the PM, but like ultimately the AE is responsible for driving the next steps of a specific deal. And this is, again, you can build the process, but it's also always dependent on the AE that you have and how organized they stay. But like again, like that's also the job of the manager to actually just pipeline manage and just make sure that like these big deals that are going through POVs are actually working. One thing that we've implemented that I think is a fun one, and I think it works really well, and it could work for more companies, is this, we call it mission winning POVs. It's a meeting once a week where like SEs and AEs and PMs get together, like with a leadership, like there's going to be a founder or two, like or a VP in that meeting. And the goal of that meeting is to discuss like the big POVs that we have running and what are the either product requirements, integrations that we're working on, security questionnaires, like what is missing for that leadership can actually help, but what is missing that PMs can actually help. And that meeting is really good to align everybody, right? So these come like they present their case, and then the PMs say like, okay, we can build that one thing, or we can just do a quick product that will take us like 2 weeks, but we could actually deliver this for that specific big customer that has like a specific requirement. So like just making things up, but that meeting exists. Like it's actually tomorrow. We do it on Tuesdays.
Oh, nice.
And we bring together the founders, the solutions engineers, product managers. We have like 4 different product areas. So we bring the product areas like that are involved in that specific thing that needs to be launched at that specific big customer. Or we just bring them to say like, we want to build this. And so like, how can we position this to the customer? Is this a deal breaker or not? Like how can leadership actually help?
This is something that we used to do at HubSpot. So when I was a PM there, I would have these enterprise sales executives reach out to me all the time. And this is when I realized like how long an enterprise sales could be, right? Because they would reach out to me and say, you know what, I saw this thing on your roadmap, because we'd have like these product updates and we'd also write down for other people to see what's kind of coming up. And this kind of helped sales and customer success as well to answer questions. And so the guy would come up to me and say, you know, I saw this thing that you guys are building. When is it coming out? Is it going to solve exactly this problem? I have like, and they would come in with like, first the ACV, like I'm looking at like a 200K ACV account, kind of give you an idea of like what the priority is. And then they would be like, you know, I don't even want it right now. I just want to tell them, is it going to be there in Q4? Is it going to be there in Q1 next year? Because, you know, this is a long sales process. They can do some trials. They can wait it around, right? They can do contracts accordingly. And so what I realized, I was going into the CRM a lot on the HubSpot side, because I wanted to see like what customers are talking about and like what's the sales process looking like. And I'm seeing like this happen a lot these days, where these silos are starting to break. like marketing, product, sales, all of them are kind of collaborating to make a sale happen and also make the product happen at the same time and also make marketing happen at the same time. Do you see this happen, and do you kind of also open systems for them to like do your like product managers go into like sales things to look at things, or do sales go to product to look at things? Like how does that happen?
Yeah, our systems are we're a very transparent company. So like our systems are very open. I think the way communication is the first thing, right? So just over communicating something that you want to happen is super important. So making sure that like sales and customer success and solutions engineering and product managers are on the same line.
Yeah.
It starts with communication.
Yeah.
And having like dedicated channels and dedicated meetings for that.
So do you have dedicated like project channels?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. And we are every quarter like we review our entire product roadmap, and the entirety of the team, the customer facing team, is involved. Meaning, here's what we want to build. Here's what we heard from customers. Our PMs are very close to customers. Here's what we heard from customers, and we asked sales, what can help you? What do you think would actually help you close more deals? CSMs, what do you think would help you expand and retain more customers?
Yeah.
And so like that feeds back into the product managers roadmap, and our roadmap is also visible to our customers.
Yeah.
So we let our customers really chime in terms of like the feature requests that they have, etc. Hey, we know that I always say this thing, but like it takes one woman that is pregnant for 9 months to make a baby. There's no way to actually have 9 women that are pregnant for 1 month to make a baby. Like there are things that you cannot short circuit. They will just take time, and we have this very strong vision of what we want to build, and we can't build everything. So trade-offs are very important.
Yeah.
And being very clear with the customer. Look, we would love to have you as a customer. And we won't build a kitchen sink, by the way. We will not build like a thing that does everything and does nothing. Like we really want to build like a product that scales and that serves the right users. And that's like something that we really understood. Like our users are the quota carrying reps. They're the SDRs, the BDRs, the AEs, the AMs, the founders, the CEOs. That sometimes like it's smaller companies actually doing sales, but they're the person doing sales. We build for them first and foremost. We don't build for the GTM engineer. We don't build for the growth engineer.
Yeah.
These are secondary people. Like we build for the quota carrying reps. If you understand this, if you understand like that you have a vision, and if you stay closer to the market, like the market shifts, and to the users, if you're very attuned to them, then you can build a great product really fast that solves their short-term and mid-term problems right now. And so they will be accepting of like the things that you have coming, like, or that you've deprioritized for 10 or 12 months from now. Because as a PM, you know that, like, you can't build everything. Like,
exactly.
You really need to understand like where you're putting like.
And how do you manage that? So like, are you running disqualification in the pipeline at any points?
So, sales team will always want us to build everything. Right?
Yeah.
So, but like as founders, we're very close to the sales cycle. That's why like these meetings are super important, because we say, hey, look, that's a cool feature. Won't build it now. Yeah. So like if that's a deal breaker, then they need to come back maybe in 12 months, and like we just say no to that deal for now, because everything else that we're building. It's like I've made this mistake as a founder, chasing all revenue, meaning. And it's true. So I think like as young founders, like we chase all revenue, and so you want to build everything. And I've made that mistake, like where sometimes you chase like, man, like you have this big customer that comes and they have so much money and they're going to pay you so much to build that one thing. And you're like, yeah, this makes. You're kind of like, oh, it doesn't make sense, but like, okay, this makes sense. And so you build that one thing, you get that revenue, and then you're like, it makes no sense. Like I shouldn't have closed that, because like now I don't want to continue building for that. I don't want to continue supporting that, and I don't have more customers for that one thing. So like sometimes like as founders, like we need to make that mistake, which is kind of like chasing all types of revenue and then like just hitting a wall. And today we're very conscious of that. Like we can't chase all dollars.
Yeah.
And again, it's a long-term play. Just building a delightful, amazing platform takes a long time, right? It's like overnight success, 10 years in the making. We just launched in 2025, so we have a lot more.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I used to work at this company, YCSF company, very much from here, called Clipboard Health.
Okay.
I think they're a unicorn now. But one of the founders was my boss. We were trying to solve. So one interesting thing they used to do is like he would throw PMs at a problem, because like PMs are great thinkers and they can help solve a problem. So we were like, let's solve the finance problem, because the finance team was like going through these problems. And so I would like sit into these finance meetings, and then there would be this one customer who you just not pay on time. Right, because they were working kind of in the ops space, so there's a lot of like receivables that you will have, and like just not pay on time, but it's like very big like enterprise client, and you're just a pain to work with for the whole team. And So my boss goes that, let's drop them. And they're like, are you kidding? Like, they're one of the biggest customers. They bring a large part of our revenue.
Yeah.
And he was like, you don't understand me. I don't want to just build this company to like where it is right now.
Yeah.
This company is going to be like all over the US. We're going to work with healthcare centers all over. And the vision is tenfold of what this is. And this customer is actually a very small piece of that vision.
Yep.
So I would rather have them out so that I can build towards the vision instead of them blocking us from doing it.
It's a tough decision to make.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for that decision, right?
Yeah.
It's like everything has a cost. Even your biggest customer has certain costs.
Yeah.
And if that biggest customer at the time was distracting you from where you wanted to go,
Yeah.
is actually driving your product over there when you really want to go over there,
Yeah.
then like you need to ask yourself the question, because like that can actually kill you. Like just overly focusing here can actually not like have you win the market that is over here that you saw all along. Again, you always need to inform that decision from like your vision, being attuned to the market, and being attuned to the customers. And like I think every single founder has made the mistake of like chasing some dollars, some revenue, and building something that was like, oh, that was not part of the roadmap. It's like, oh, I can make 6 figures here, so let's go and get that. And it's like, well, you shouldn't.
Yeah,
shouldn't
because
have,
enterprise is like, it attracts you, right?
Yeah.
It's $1 million deal.
It's a
I get my
logo.
whole ACV for the year.
And you go for the logo, right? So like then I have this logo, I can say whatever, like.
Yeah, exactly.
But then like everything has a cost, right? Everything has a cost.
Because if you go after that customer, you have like 10 other people who are like, I love you and I want your product. I can't pay that much.
Yeah.
But you get those customers because they're going to give you the feedback and the iteration that you need to get to where you want to. And while we're talking about learnings, I'm pretty sure you would have tried out a bunch of things, right? To understand what works and what doesn't work in GTM. Kind of getting to your own GTM market fit, because we talk about product market fit a lot, but there's also GTM market fit. What are some of the things that you would have tried and then you learn from them to figure out, okay, this doesn't work and this is why it doesn't work and now I know this?
I think GTM has changed so much.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like it's changing. It's always evolving. And it's getting harder. So like the lives of like sales teams are getting harder over time. So you have like email is getting harder, social selling is getting harder, like cold calling is getting harder. So, like what doesn't work anymore is just like, you can't have a list of accounts, go into a searcher, just download the VPs of sales and then blast them. That's just like clearly does not work anymore. And it's kind of like feeding into like all of the problems that we've generated over time. So we've made our sales lives harder by just like spamming, like we're spraying and praying, and now we're spamming on the phone. Tomorrow is the Apple event, right? So where Apple's iOS might come out with the new call screening thing, which is going to make cold calling much harder. All of these parallel dials are going to have a harder life, right, to come through. So I think what doesn't work anymore is just the volume. It's cheesy to say this, but the volume game doesn't work, right? Again, it's always like you can do one email to get like one response or one social selling, but there's like, what does work is really researching your accounts, and even then it's never 100%. Like researching your accounts, augmenting like your research at the account and individual level with AI, etc., and then building something that is truly unique and bespoke. I think the things that don't work is just like just massive blasting. And I know that potentially it's not the answer that you wanted to hear, but like that's like I've seen that not work at all.
Agencies have really made it bad. Like
Jesus Christ, it's a hard business. Jesus Christ, agencies have really tough business.
Because there are some good agencies, but most agencies like they have blasted people so much that people have gotten this kind of filter of like everything is spam.
I know, but it's like they also work. They have such a tough life because like usually agencies work with smaller companies. Smaller companies don't understand sales. Founders don't. I've seen so many YC founders not understanding that sales, go to market, what we're talking about. Distribution is your most important problem.
Exactly.
If you want to outsource distribution, you're screwed, because like if you don't find distribution, you're never going to have a business. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so founders, like especially like me, I was that person, right? I can actually relate very well to that person because I was exactly like that. I'm a technical person. I don't want to go sales. I don't want to be in front of people. I just want to build product, right? Yeah. And so like founders don't really understand that distribution is so important. So they go to agencies and they give them like the hardest problem that they should be solving that they don't even realize is the hardest problem. And they come with misaligned expectations. My product is amazing. Everybody should be using my product. How come agency you're not getting results? So agencies to solve that, what do? Like it's just a vicious circle. They need to do more volume. So like, do you know what I mean? And then like these founders are turning out because even for the ops that they generate, founders cannot close them because product market fit is not maybe there. It's just a crazy game. And I have so much respect for agencies, but they have such a tough business
this
model.
is also like, I can't even blame agencies for this. Like, you should go to an agency. Agencies are good sometimes.
Yeah.
When you actually know what's working.
Yeah.
You have an engine,
Exactly.
you have the flywheel going on, and then you go to them and tell, this is the flywheel. I just want you to replicate it like at scale.
Or make it better. Like, what can I do to improve this by 10, 20%, right?
Yeah.
But like figuring it out from scratch, it's kind of like, hey, dude, like that doesn't.
Because as a founder, like this is what we are also realize. Like every time I go on a call with a customer, I learn something new about my own product.
And that will be continuously true.
Yeah. Like I'm telling you, like if you talk to 100 customers, by the 100th customer, your product would have significantly changed because every time you learn something, you bring something new. And by the time, before you know it, every founder has a pivot.
And by the way, like not all that's super true. And like that pivot can be not a pivot in the product, but can be a pivot in the messaging, in the person that you sell to. Like, do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm selling the right product, but to the wrong person. I'm selling it the wrong way. Sales is such an organic endeavor, like GTM. It's like you need to always be learning. It's like that feedback loop needs to be every single week.
That happened to us. So we used to, like, when we started building our CRM, we're like, agencies don't have a specific product. They have different customers, different requirements. They're going to have the most need for a CRM that automatically just updates itself based on transcripts and stuff. So they can always look at the requirements. And then when we started doing a lot of like inbound, like on the wait list, we saw a bunch of like AI native, like just startups signing up. And like, well, these guys have a product. They must have a PLG motion. Why do they need a CRM like ours, right? Then I go talk to these people and they're like, you know what? I have like a couple of GTM folks, or they probably don't even have it, and just don't have the time to go and like update the CRM. Yes, we got a product and got some PLG motion, but when inbound happens, I still need to go and talk because I'm doing founder-led sales. There's a lot of founder-led sales happening right now. And so I need to make sure every call I go to is getting updated because if I'm the founder leading sales, I'm the founder. I need to do everything else as well.
Yeah, it's so much work.
So it's like, so we didn't realize that was like a very core like customer for us. But now I wanted to like get your hot take on something. So recently, which I hope gets fixed for you guys, LinkedIn took you down. I know a lot of people coming and bashing you guys, saying, oh, see, these guys are not doing something right, and that's why LinkedIn is taking them down. First of all, definitely want to understand your hot take on like what LinkedIn has been doing, because a lot of people are pissed about it. But also the second thing about, what do you think about, like, I'm seeing this a lot in SF, to be honest. There's a lot of negativity from founders and just like bashing other people and just being weird with them. Just for like quick publicity, which for me it feels like a bad taste in the mouth, because I think even if you're a competitor, I would want to keep a relationship with you, because you know what? That competitor might become your customer because your product might pivot.
I think negativity is always more noisy than positivity. It's always been true.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know if you read this book, but there's a nice book called Factfulness, which I recommend, which is kind of like negative news propagates so much faster. So people have always have like a perception of reality as being more negative than it actually is, because like positivity is not like inherently viral. So like whatever, like these negative like things, they're just a subset of the market because they become noisy. Like we over-index on them. I would love to pick your brains on that. Like, why do you think SF is like that? I don't think so. I've been living here.
Not all of SF, but I'm seeing a lot of like new founders coming in.
Okay, there's more founders here. Overall, like I know so many founders, so many cool builders in the space, and not in my space, but like people here. My experience is that people really help each other. I'm not saying that there's not like crazy people out there, for sure. I might be considered.
But yeah, I like a little bit of like a tangent to that. But what I've generally seen is that the SF ecosystem is like so helpful in terms of I messaged this guy I met like once in India. He doesn't even remember, and he's like the GTM guy at First Cell. And I'm like, hey, I'm here, would love to meet up. This guy just comes in for 1 hour. He gives me the whole spiel on like how he runs the whole like GTM pipeline, his sales process. Just gives us a master class for 1 hour and just goes away asking for nothing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So it is amazing. Like not just founders, but like everyone in the city are like, they're all ready to help without asking for anything.
That's you know, like, and that's to me that's my experience of the city. Meaning like the fact that there are people that are like crazy and negative, like doesn't like, it's just a small subset. These are the people in SF, like people that, the builders, the people that are willing to help just for the sake of helping. Like I think you'll find that so much in the city. So like that's like what I like about the city. Like you have so many builders, so many people that are curious, so many people that want, and these people are always also looking to learn, right? So like they're looking to share their own experiences, but also learn from yours.
Yeah, and in general, what I think is that whoever is trying to get some publicity the negative way are eventually going to get dwarfed by all of these folks, and they're going to realize that they're not really making any friends. And if they're not making any friends, they're not really
And they
getting anywhere.
And they don't matter. Like honestly, they don't matter.
Exactly.
Like, like you can have like a company that is built on FUD, like fear, uncertainty, and doubt, or you can have a company that is built on vision, right? So like choose vision, choose like product, choose your customers, delight your users, right, and focus on them. And that's like over time, compound this over time, right? So just iterate enough times. It's like the Bernoulli function, like the compound interest function. Like you're bound to
The
win.
researcher in you is coming out
There you go.
But the last thing I would want to ask, because I've also been meeting founders the last few weeks here, and especially like Berkeley Skydeck just got over, and like some of these founders are starting to raise and everything. And I've been talking to a couple of founders, helping them figure out how to do fundraise, because I did a little bit of fundraise. They're very anxious and very scared.
Yeah.
Like one of the founders like got like 50 meetings booked, and he's like, yeah, I got the meetings booked through Berkeley, but I don't know exactly how to go to these conversations, what to tell them, what if they ask for evaluation, should I keep updating them, should I keep like messaging them if they don't follow up. It's a game, the VC game is there, which is, we like it or not, it's just there. What would your like most important tips be to these founders who are just kind of getting into the VC game, because you have raised a good amount of money as well? What would you tell to these people? Like, how should they think about running this process?
In a nutshell, like I think VCs are looking for good deals.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, like VCs are very risk averse, and most of them are actually driven by her mentality. So like, I think they're looking for a good deal. Like you and I, like, like if you're investing your money somewhere, like you just, the more certain you are of actually making money, the more willing you are to actually
a lot of
invest
deals
money.
are driven by FOMO than anything else.
Try to create that scenario for them. Try to create that scenario where you're like, it's not like I don't need your money. I'm giving you the opportunity to put money here so that your money is valued more. Like it's a very cheesy thing to do, but like it's to say, but it's really like that.
Yeah.
Just like really build product. Just really show them that you've talked with customers, that you're getting some initial traction, and show them that from the get go you cannot have the best product. It will take time.
Yeah.
And then be prepared. Like, so like again, you should know evaluate. If you're going to talk with VCs, you should know what you want. Just know what you want. Don't waste their time too, right? So like if you want to raise money, how much money do you want to raise, and what's the plan for that money? Just have like something, and you might be wrong about how that money is going to be applied, but at least you have like some sort of an idea of what you want to do with it. Because if you come with too much uncertainty, like you're not going to look good. But just like do your homework, to work on your product, show them that like you're creating a good opportunity for them. And then know exactly what you want from them. Again, VCs have done this many times. They know that when they're investing like early stage founders, they're investing in you. Like, okay, this person, they have what it takes. And I can see that like, they know that building a company is never like a linear thing. It's going to be like this. Yeah. So like, okay, if shit hits the fan, like what's going to happen? Are they going to be just like, do they care enough about the problem to actually hang in there and like continue iterating? So just make sure that like one, you know what you want or what you want from them, like how much money you're raising, and like that you have a very strong vision of what you want to accomplish. Earliest stages is just they're investing in
it's really
founders,
the founder
in people.
In the market,
it's
right?
people, and even the market. Of course, the market is important, but they know pivoting. Your market might change. So.
A lot of people just start with like we're going to do GTM, and they're solving an engineering problem after that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I really like that thought of like have the confidence of like I'm giving you the opportunity, because I think that frame of reference doesn't live with founders a lot. They think of the VCs are the boss and like these gods that they have to like really convince. And one of my VCs actually early on when we were raising told me this. They're like, you are the boss. You have most of the equity. I'm just taking a little bit of your equity. If you're the guy with the most of the equity and you're on the board, you're the boss here. You're just taking a little bit of that piece. So don't think like the VC is really the guy that you need to convince.
No.
The VC wants you to win, and the VC wants to convince you that if you're good enough, you want a little bit of your stake.
Exactly.
Right? Like you got to flip that script in your head of like, hey, this is your company, not their company.
Exactly. And they want to feel that you can be in control, like to the point of like, you should know what valuation you're going for. You should know how much money you want. Like, be reasonable about it. But you should know, because in the end, you're getting their money and you're going to call the shots with their money. So they want to know that, okay, like cool, like you don't know many things about this thing, you're a first time founder, etc. Like I can tell that like directionally you seem to be motivated. You seem to be like having the right mindset in the right direction. And again, that's why like be prepared then, because ultimately, as you're saying, like you're going to raise money from multiple VCs or angels, and like you're going to be the one calling the shots on how you're going to spend it. And they know that like by default, by definition, just like 99% of them are going to fail, right?
Yeah.
So like, as founders, we choose to play a really hard game, which is like a non-linear returns game. Like it doesn't matter how much work you put in, like your rewards are not guaranteed whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
Everything else in life is kind of guaranteed. If you go to school, you study more, you get better, you get better marks, right? So like,
Yeah.
I don't know, if you play a sport, the more you train, whatever, like you can actually get better results.
You got to get more reps in.
Yeah, exactly. Here, like you can get a lot of reps and like
Yeah.
it's still like zero outcomes. So it's a tough game. It's a
Yeah.
really tough game. You know, they're looking for resilient, visionary founders. That's why like build on vision, care. You know, you need to care a lot about a problem a lot, and we care a lot. I care a lot about the GTM problem. Like the distribution problem to me is a real one, and I think there's a universal truth. A company is built to solve a problem, right?
Yeah.
And so a company is just a group of people that are focusing on solving problems. And these problems or these solutions will always want to find problems. It's just finding each other is so hard.
Yeah.
But that's always going to be true.
The
like,
Tinder for problems and solutions.
so like, and you know, like that's going to be always the case. That individuals are coming together to create something, and that's something as a match somewhere or multiple matches. And so
Exactly.
we're in the business of like kind of like getting these things to match.
So that's a great thought to end on. Thank you so much, Micael.
Thank you
for
for
making
having me.
here. It was great to have you here.
Thank you very
All
much.
right. See you then.